What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rebel Media. Appreciate you being here as always. Today we're going to be doing a short history on William Clark Quantrill, the famous Confederate raider of Quantrells Raiders, and I hope you guys enjoy. William Clark Quantrill was born in 1837 in Canal, Dover, Ohio, now known as just Dover. The oldest of 12 children, many of who died very young during childbirth from sickness and disease. Little is known of Quantrill's early life in Dover, Ohio, though it seems that he grew up in a Unionist family initially under Free Soil beliefs, not a born true Southerner. He was an intelligent dude, he loved to read, he went to college, and he graduated when he was 16. He loved history, and he was extremely good at math. Quantrill was small in stature, detail-oriented in clothes, hygiene, and appearance. People also describe him as always being polite and also handsome. He was said to be cool as a cucumber under pressure. After years of working as a schoolteacher like his dad and following in his footsteps, he wasn't making enough money. Some things never change, huh? His father died of tuberculosis and left his family with a lot of debt. His mom had to open her home as a boarding house to make ends meet. Before 1860, Quantrill's political view appeared to be in support of the anti-slavery side. He also called Democrats the worst men we have, for they're all rascals, for no one could be a Democrat here without being one. Quantrill traveled to Utah in 1858 to try his hand at professional gambling, assuming the name Charles Hart. He also learned the profitability of capturing runaway slaves and used free black men as bait for runaway slaves, of whom he captured and returned to their masters in exchange for reward money. In 1859, he went to Lawrence, Kansas, and again taught school, but charges were brought against him in 1861. Quantrill was put in jail under indictment for horse theft and other crimes, but after being released on bail, Quantrill left the state of Kansas on April 3, 1861 to avoid standing trial. During this time, he learned how to use the Bowie knife, Sharp's rifle, and the Colt revolver. Quantrill then joined a group of Missouri ruffians and became somewhat of a drifter. The group helped protect Missouri farmers from the Jayhawkers in exchange for pay and room and board. Quantrill also lived with American Indians in the Cherokee Nation, where he perfected his guerrilla skills in adopting Indian warfare tactics. It was also here that I think he came up with the elaborate lie of a story that he would later tell his men.
Before the war, my older brother and I were ambushed by 32 Jayhawkers. They killed my brother, and I too had been seriously wounded and shot 2 times. Well, I was left for dead, but luckily I was found by a Shawnee Indian who nursed me back to health, and I avenged myself by joining the Jayhawkers. I was sent out on scouting patrols, and I would kill them all one by one until all but 2 were dead.
As cool as the story might have sounded, it was total bullshit. Quantrill enlisted and served as a private in Company A of the 1st Cherokee Regiment in the Confederate Army. He participated in Confederate victories at Wilson's Creek and at the First Battle of Lexington. In 1861, he either became disillusioned with General Sterling Price's leadership or just with Army life in general, and he bailed on being a regular soldier in the Confederate Army. August 11, 1862, Quantrill joins forces with Colonel J.T. Hughes and his regular Confederate soldiers, and they subdue a small Federal force in the First Battle of Independence in Missouri. The rebel victory in Independence might have led him to receiving an appointment as a captain in the Confederate Army. However, there is contention that Quantrill was never commissioned as a Confederate officer, but it's still uncertain. Also, in 1862, it said he marries a girl by the name of Sarah Catherine King, who is possibly 13 years old. And that's another red flag for me, Mr. Quantrill. So Quantrill starts his own band of raiders. They're called the Missouri Partisan Rangers, aka Quantrells Raiders, named after himself, of course. In 1862, Union forces had established control over Missouri. and Quantrells Raiders continued to harass the Yankee Army and pro-Union towns over the next 3 years. Quantrill and other guerrilla leaders recruited their soldiers from pro-Confederate areas who resented the federal invasion of their state. Along with those who joined him was a 20-year-old farm kid named Frank James, his younger brother Jesse, and a man named William T. Anderson, aka Bloody Bill. He is most famously known for Quantrells Raid, or otherwise known as the Lawrence Massacre. A reconnaissance of the town was done by Jim Nolan, a black Confederate. Together, a plan was put in place together, and at dawn, August 21, 1863, Quantrill and his raiders attacked the pro-Union town of Lawrence. They killed 150 men and boys, but no women and girls. They caused massive destruction by burning and looting the town as well. The raid was in response to the prison collapse that killed many female prisoners, including Bill Anderson's sister, and also for James Lane's sacking of Osceola, Missouri. James Lane survived the raid by hiding in a cornfield in his PJs. Quantrill is also known for what is called the Baxter Spring Massacre. Quantrill decided to attack Fort Baxter and divide his force into 2 columns, one under him and the other under another subordinate, David Poole. David Poole and his men proceeded down the road and ran into Union troops, where the raiders pursued them and killed some of them before they ran into the fort for cover. The Federals were able to defend the fort from being taken, but out on the prairie, Quantrill's column had encountered another Union detachment that was escorting James Blunt, and the raiders were wearing Federal uniforms and took the Federals by surprise. Quantrill's column killed most of the detachment, including those who attempted to surrender. An estimated total of 103 men were killed. After the massacre of Blunt's troops, Quantrill sent a demand ordering the surrender of the fort, and they refused. Bloody Bill wanted to attack the fort again, but Quantrill said no, and the boys headed to Texas. Federal authorities commissioned Captain Edwin Terrell, a leader of a Jayhawker gang in Spencer County, Kentucky, to hunt Quantrill and his men. Terrell had a very bad reputation, as bad as Quantrill, and some say even worse. He began the war as a Confederate, but he switched sides, and he plundered and killed Southern sympathizers in the name of the Union. On May 10, 1864, Quantrill and his men were hiding out in a barn, and as he attempted to flee on horseback, Quantrill was shot in the back. He was instantly paralyzed from the chest down. It's said that Frank James and 4 of his other men attempted to rescue him after the Federals left. Quantrill knew he was going to die, and he said,
"Boys, it is impossible for me to get well. The war is over, and I am, in reality, a dying man. So let me alone. Goodbye."
So June 6, 1865, Quantrill dies in a federal hospital in Kentucky. And that Terrell guy, he's not long for glory after he kills Quantrill. He actually gets shot and ambushed and paralyzed as well. And I guess he spends 2 years in agonizing pain and eventually dies. Quantrill has 3 graves, if you can believe that. One in Kentucky, one in Ohio, and one in Missouri. A lot of things happened to his remains after he died. I could probably do a whole nother video just on that, including his skull being stolen and used in secret fraternity rituals. Oh yeah, it gets pretty weird. But that's going to have to do it for us today. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. To all the new subscribers and everything, I really appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Thank you for supporting me, and we'll see you guys on the next one.